Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be doing another update of Washington Reagan National Airport. I've actually really missed doing these updates. It's been a while since we've done one of these and I've come to miss it. And as well, the really good thing about today's update is we have an aircraft that I've been waiting for a very long time. Since we started Reagan updates, I have been wanting one of these aircraft in an update, and we finally have it. But we will get to that in due time, so we're going to be starting off where we usually do, down here with American Eagle. So starting off here, we have this American Eagle CRJ-700. This aircraft has arrived in from Cleveland in Ohio and is going to be heading out to Albany in New York. We then have this American Eagle Embraer E175 arrived in from Kansas City, Missouri, and is going to be heading out to Boston, Massachusetts. Next up here we have this American Eagle CRJ-200. This aircraft has arrived in from White Plains in New York and is going to be heading out to Lansing in Michigan. During the 2020 pandemic, American retired these CRJ-200s from service, but following the pandemic, when passenger numbers started to increase again, American re-entered the CRJ-200 into service, so now American have 40 of these still flying. Following that though, we have this American Eagle Embraer E170 in the retro color scheme. This one has arrived in from Tulsa in Oklahoma and is going to be heading out to Memphis in Tennessee. After that, here we have this American Eagle Embraer E175 arrived in from Knoxville in Tennessee and is going to be heading out to Burlington in Vermont. And last but not least, for the American Eagle section, here we have this American Eagle CRJ-700. This one has just arrived in from Des Moines in Iowa and is going to be heading out to Pensacola in Florida. Next up, moving over to the American mainlines now, here we have this American Boeing 737-800. This one has arrived in from Bermuda and is going to be heading out to Tampa in Florida. We then have this American Airbus A321neo. This one has arrived in from Phoenix, Arizona and is going to be heading out to Los Angeles in California. And last but not least, for American, here we have this American Boeing 737-800. This one has arrived in from Las Vegas in Nevada and is going to be heading out to Indianapolis in Indiana. And then next here, moving on to the aircraft I've wanted for such a long time, here we have the JetBlue Embraer E190. The Embraer E190 has been the backbone of JetBlue's DC operations for almost the last 2 decades. In fact, JetBlue were the launch customer of this type of aircraft, and they started flying with the E190 all the way back in 2005, so almost 2 decades of service with this aircraft. Of course, unfortunately, these days JetBlue only fly into Washington Reagan in DC. They ended their Washington Dulles service, I want to say either 2018 or 2019, and they ended their Baltimore service I believe in 2023. Back in the day, JetBlue used to operate a lot out of Washington Dulles. They used to even operate flights out to Long Beach in California on the A320. They used to operate down to Orlando. But of course, the 2 routes that lasted until JetBlue finally pulled the plug on Dulles was JFK and Boston, and of course those routes were operated on the Embraer E190 again until they finally pulled the plug on Dulles completely in, I believe, late 2018 or early 2019. And then of course that one service that JetBlue had from Baltimore up to Boston was again on the Embraer E190, but these days it's only Washington Reagan that gets JetBlue service. And unfortunately for the Embraer E190, these aircraft won't be around for too much longer. After operating a total of 38 of these Embraers over the years, JetBlue have announced that in late 2025 or early 2026 they will be finally retiring the Embraer E190. While of course this is sad and I've been after this model for a very long time, I've flown the JetBlue Embraer E190 in the past and I have to say it wasn't my favorite. I flew this aircraft from Boston to JFK and it was just not a very clean aircraft at all. I've nothing against this type of aircraft. I've flown the British Airways Cityflyer Embraer E190 multiple times and I love that product. British Airways do a service to their Embraers. They are really, really nice, you know, leather seats, really clean, really nice legroom. But the JetBlue Embraers, on the other hand, not as nice. JetBlue will be replacing the Embraers with the brand new Airbus A220-300. JetBlue have a total of 100 of those on order. They're not just going to be replacing the Embraers, they're also going to be replacing some of the older A320s. But yeah, I'm just glad that I could finally add a JetBlue Embraer into one of these updates before they are gone for good. So I'm going to be sending this Embraer E190 out to one of my personal favorite destinations that JetBlue fly, and that is to Nantucket in Maine. After that, here we have the aircraft the Embraers are going to be replaced with. This is the JetBlue Airbus A220-300. This aircraft is going to be heading into Boston in Massachusetts. Again, JetBlue have 100 of these on order. And then last but not least, here for JetBlue, we have this Airbus A320. This aircraft is going to be heading out to West Palm Beach in Florida. And these A320s are still the backbone of the JetBlue fleet. They have 129 of these A320s in service. Again, that is going to drop when more of the A220s come into service. But then, of course, the A321s are quite prominent in the JetBlue fleet as well. Not so much in DC. We do occasionally get to the A321 here. However, they're primarily operated at their JetBlue hubs. JetBlue have 63 of the regular Airbus A321s. They then have 59 of the A321neos on order. They have 13 of the A321LRs on order. Of course, those are going to be doing the transatlantic flights over to London and such places. And then they have another 13 of the Airbus A321XLRs on order. Those are due to come into the JetBlue fleet starting in 2030. And of course, those are going to be transatlantic aircraft, probably based from JFK and Boston. And last here for this row of aircraft, we have this Alaska Boeing 737 MAX 8. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Portland in Oregon. But next, moving around to Delta, here we have this Delta Airbus A321. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Atlanta in Georgia. We then have this Delta Airbus A319. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Detroit in Michigan. And then last for Delta, here we have this A320 heading out to Miami in Florida. Next, moving around to United, here we have this United Express CRJ-550. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Newark in New Jersey. We then have this United Airbus A320 in the older color scheme heading out to Chicago O'Hare in Illinois. Again, I'm still waiting on a new livery of the A320 to be released. Then last here for United, we have the United Boeing 757-300 heading out to Denver in Colorado. Again, this is quite a rare aircraft to see. United only operate 21 of these, and there's only a handful of airlines that actually operate the Dash 300 of the 757. So this is a really, really cool aircraft that we get into Reagan. Moving around to Southwest now, here we have the Southwest Boeing 737-800. This one is going to be heading out to New Orleans in Louisiana. Next here we have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8. This one is going to be heading out to Chicago Midway in Illinois. And then last here for the terminal space, we have this Frontier Airbus A320neo heading out to Frontier's only destination, which is Denver, Colorado. And then last but not least, finishing off today's updates, we have this United States Coast Guard C-130. This one is going to be heading out to St. Petersburg in Florida. Of course, the US Coast Guard have a fairly sizable presence here at Washington Reagan. They have their own hangar. Of course, mainly it's helicopters that we get here, but occasionally we will get the odd C-37 or C-130 into Reagan as well. So it's really cool to occasionally see this aircraft. But apart from that, that does conclude today's update of Washington Reagan National Airport. I hope you enjoyed, and with that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.